Can you tell the difference between these cards?
Their colors.
Yeah, different colors. Some people are colorblind, but because they're different colors, the dark respond differently than the light. In other words, these are black cards, dark black, right? Right?
Yep.
Because they're dark black and blue on the other side, super important, they behave differently than the reds. The reds are light, not just on the front, they're light on the back. Because of that, they always tend to rise. I'll show you what I mean. Look, I'll put a dark one in between the lights. You can see I'll go very slowly. Dark between each one, dark between each one. Go as slowly as possible. Look, and I'll push them together. I have to wait about, well, you see, I haven't done anything. I have to wait about 3 seconds. Look, I just hold them in my hand, wait. That should have been enough time. You think, oh my goodness, they really did separate from the blues. That's nutty, isn't it? It's crazy how that happened. Watch as closely as you want. I go as slowly as possible, put one between the others. Right? Now, a lot of people think when I do this, something sneaky just happens. Is there anything sneaky there?
No.
I'll go slowly.
Will you put it down and pick it back up?
Watch. I'll go slowly as soon as possible. Ready? Is that slow enough? Count to 3. 1, 2, 3. You think it happened? Oh, I hope so. Yes. Just look. It's separated from the blues. This time, let's do nothing. Absolutely nothing. We're going to do nothing. Have I done anything? No. I'm going to continue to do nothing. Look, the reds are just on top. Just on top. So I can't make them come to the top because. But let's do something. Push them together. Push them together. Pick them up and shake them.
Check it out.
Shake. That should do it. Red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue. That's a little lesson in playing cards.
Wow. What's the secret?
Secret is hard work and self-denial. When Penguin Magic asked me to teach Perfectly Oiled, it's one of those tricks. I had to sort of go back to it and look at it again. And I'm happy to say I was pleased with what I found. It really came from 2 effects that were published in Apocalypse in the 80s. They were oil and water effects, one by John McClure, one by Mike Bornstein, and each had one phase. And even though it's just one phase, and it seems like oil and water is an effect that needs repetition, it was interesting how they exploited the fact that they were using odd backs, red backs, and blue backs in the oil and water plot. And they absolutely deserve credit for starting me off on this path. And if you look up those effects in Apocalypse, you'll say, oh yeah, there's that in his, and there's that part. So while Perfectly Oiled was first published by me in the mid-'80s, that's over 30 years ago, it was Ed Marlowe who came up with a plot for oil and water. Cards of different colors separating. An unusual plot in magic, and there have been many versions. Stuart Judah's version is the one I first saw. My friend Peter Kugasian performed it as part of his set at the Magic Townhouse in New York, and it astonished me because I was unfamiliar with that plot. And the Stuart Judah version of that plot, done with one deck, is excellent. It's the version Derek Dingle did. It's in his book, miscredited to Stuart James, but that's the version Derek Dingle did. He added a kicker. We had to bring the cards back to the deck, which I felt was unnecessary, but the Stuart Judah version is completely explained in the Dingle book. Well, the 2-deck version, you can go into it from shuffled decks. It's a very simple setup because you're going to use 3 cards that are legitimately red on the back, red on the face, but one that's black. And similarly, when you the black cards, you're going to take 3 that are legitimately blue on the back, black on the face, but one that's red. You don't want to use the same cards. So for that, and these can be either set up ahead of time or just done from a shuffled deck, I always start with red, and I pull out even cards. So even, and the black one, even that is even. Obviously, as I pull these cards out, I can let them all be flashed or none of them, but I can't flash the last one. They go onto the table. Now, in the blue, I do odd. That way, I know I'm not going to duplicate any card. So it's odd, odd, and odd and odd. The first one I will table will be the incorrect one. So if you remember, the last one I tabled here was the one that is not a red face. The first one I'm going to table from the blue is the one that's not a black face. And if I wanted to, I could flash the others and they go on top. One thing I contributed to this plot is giving it a premise. A problem with oil and water, all version of oil and water, is it's a hard trick to really sell with a lot of impact. I think 3 phases help that a lot. And in addition, a premise helps that a lot. And normally the premise is oil and water don't mix. I just add a little bit. I say, have you ever noticed when you take an old deck out of a drawer, all the colors are separated? Of course, that's a lie. And they'll say, no, I haven't noticed that. Oh, probably when you pulled it out of the drawer, you pulled really fast and it mixed them all up. No, the colors will separate. And it's very important to get them to clearly understand the starting position. When I started making layers to this effect, different phases, I didn't want to keep proving and keep proving. What I want to do is prove a lot at the top and then gradually reduce the amount of proving I do. It actually is reduced all the way to the end, yet you don't feel like at any point you want to see more than I'm showing you. I'll show you what I mean as we go. Are you colorblind? You can see the difference between these cards, right? The difference is there, and you want them to say color. As I'm talking to them, I allow the 2 center cards to get very close to being aligned, because all I'm going to do as I turn the cards and table them face up is exchange the 2 in the center. As I talk to them, that's right, we're going to deal with color. And you don't, it's not a move, it's not a big deal. I've switched those 2 that met in the center. No big move. Now I'm going to want Elmsley count, and again, I don't want to make a move out of it. If I pick up 3 of the black and then 1, when I turn them over, what will I have? I'll have the odd backer in a position for an Elmsley count, 3rd from the top. So, if you don't know the Elmsley count, I won't belabor it, it's very simple. The cards are held the right hand at the right edge. The left hand takes 1 card from the top, comes to take the next, but the right thumb is just going to push over the cards above the bottom card. Everything but the bottom card. The left hand comes back, it leaves the card that it has in its hand, leaves it behind in the right hand, so it takes those 2 cards. They don't have to be perfectly squared, look, because you're supposed to have 2 cards. Then you take the 3rd, then the 4th, and now I just let them fall off my right fingers. Boom, there they are. I can get the red cards in Elmsley count position by picking up 2, then 2. That will put my blue backer 3rd from the top when I flip them over. There it is. Of course, I don't expose that. I talk about red. From this point on, I emphasize that red is a light ink. It tends to rise. I like to simplify this effect by talking about red for the rest, just about the rest of the trick. I do my Elmsley count, and again, I turn these cards over, but to streamline the effect, I don't do it onto the table. I flip them into my hand and immediately spread. Very convincing. They've just seen 4 backs, all red, 4 faces, all red. Everything seems above board and crystal clear before the magic happens, which is important. This first card I'm going to interlace. It goes above the bottom, in between that card and the one above it. And this is the one card after the Elmsley count whose back I cannot show because it's the wrong color. But it doesn't matter, I have something to say. I'm going to interlace these cards, alternate them. See how they're alternating? Now I can flash. But that first one, because I'm introducing new subject matter, the rest can all be flashed. I show them, I squeeze them together, I show them one more time. They can see they alternate. When I show them this one the second time, I'm going to essentially get a pinky break between the 2 piles of 4. Well, I should say under 4 cards or above 4 cards, however you want to look at it, right in the middle. Now I turn these cards over and look what happens. That pinky break gives me a step, I should say, after they turn over. It happens automatically. All it is a pinky break. I'll show you the pinky break. See that? The audience doesn't. As I flip them over, my second finger and thumb, just turn it over, you get an automatic step. You don't need a big step. A little step is just fine, because as these cards are taken in the left hand, I can now get a break where that step was. Very important, left little finger break under 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. As you saw, the fourth card is that odd backer. I always wait for some time to go by. I say, I think it happened. I push over one. I push over the next red one, take it under the first. Now I'm holding a double. My thumb goes on there. I grasp the double at the right side. I'll get rid of these two cards. I'm grasping it like this and pretending to push off. My thumb didn't really push off. My left hand pulled the other cards to the left. And you want these fingers to hold this double aligned. So between all these elements, and remember I'm holding two cards too. I'm holding these cards aligned, the thumb's there. It looks like a push-off. I'm really pulling back the remaining cards with the left hand. You have a really nice illusion. I think it happened. Oh my goodness, can you believe it? These cards, got to keep them aligned, these cards have separated from the blues. Now I only have 3 blues here, but I bring them under the red. And again, when I take this on top, let me get them nice and pretty. I can take it here so you can see all the cards, or I can have it a little bit concealed. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to immediately spread these cards, but I'll get rid of this for now. Look what happens. I have 3, but I come into here and I start to spread. It looks like all 4 were in the left hand. Got that? So now let's spread the cards. There's 1, there's 2. Now I have to pick up that double. My thumb goes on it. I pull the others to the side, and it looks like a push-off. And the last red one goes on top. Now there's a blue hidden under this bottom. It's a double, and I only have 3 blues here. But I get an illusion of 4 blues in the left hand by coming over and spreading, and I'm breaking that double. I'm going to spread that double. Let me show you. It really is there. But I'm going to spread it as these blues come underneath, and it separated from the blues. One more time, not to belabor it. I have a double there. I'm holding 3 blues here. I just say, yeah, the reds, always emphasizing the reds, separated from the blues. I immediately bring the blues over to my left, deal 1 to the table, 2, and the others, as if I'm showing, 0 guile, but it really put me in position by dealing 2 and then dropping the other 2. In position to do an Elmsley count, showing the faces this time. So it's a variation of what I did before. Here, I'm also in position. I immediately turn these cards face up in the following way. I shouldn't say I'm immediately in position. I do the following adjustment. I take the top card, flip the others over, and let the top card, the former top card, flip over. That positioned the black card third from the top. Now I can do an Elmsley count. They see red, immediately turn these face down, and I don't show the faces of these. Remember I said I'm going to prove less and less and less. They've just seen that these are black-faced and blue-backed. I immediately start the interlacing process. And just as before, due to the way this is structured, it's only that first card that has a face I cannot flash. This is the wrong color. It's red. And I say, and again I'm going to interlace these, and I can keep flashing the remaining 3 cards. I can't interlace this last one, but I can put it on top. I can go super slow. I can let them push them together. Some people think I did something sneaky. No, they really are alternating. They see them alternating again, and I do the same thing. I get my pinky break right in the middle, and when I turn them face up, it gives me an automatic step. It doesn't matter if they see the step. You don't have to hide it. The whole effect is very loose. And yeah, I turned over cards, and so what? I'm picking them up, putting them in the other hand, and of course I'm getting my pinky break above that step. Now I do a variation of the show. I wait a few seconds. I think it happened. I take 1, take 2, do the same fake pushover as before, but this time I take that last red card and I table the cards like that. Why like that? The double is facing me, that edge. It is not facing the spectators. That double is very well concealed. So it's single, an aligned double, and a single, but it looks very haphazard. Well, now I only have 3 cards here because of that double. What do? Well, I do an Elmsley count with 3 cards. It shows 4, and the last card I put back to the bottom, and I say, let's do something crazy. I just table the blues. The blues just go down on the table. When I pick up the reds face up, I push over the top one with my thumb. Just push it over a little. So now I turn these over. What are they seeing? Just a little touch, but they're seeing another red back. Those go on top. I can even have the spectator clean them up. The spectator hand can go on top, or I can even have the spectator pick them up if I don't do it myself. I, the spectator, give them a shake. I now take them back, and you have an escalation and a climax with 0 moves, because automatically, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue. To sell this and get the most out of it, what you wonder, I'll go back to where I was, the exact position. As I put these, the red pile on top of the blues, I always make a point of saying, well, the reds are already on top, so we have to try something different. If they're already on top, let's give them a shake. So they remember what the before was, before you show them the after. Dealing these out and having them alternate, which, yes, even the spectator could do that. I prefer to do it so I'm in control of the timing, is a surprising and unbelievable climax, and they're burning you, and there's nothing for them to see. For the cleanup, very simple. I start left to right, I gather the reds. And now, as I put them away on the red deck, I can flash the face. For the blues, I gather them the other direction, and I can flash the face as I put those away. That's perfectly oiled. A trick you can do with any 2 decks. I've done this in close-up rooms. I've done this on pool tables. I've done this on a bar. It's just a fun card effect. And what's great about it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with Ed Marlowe, because he came up with that plot. And it's so far away from being a pick-a-card effect, it captures people's imagination. That's perfectly oiled. Have you tried perfectly oiled yet? Try it. And then put a review on Penguin Magic.